To be honest with you, I recorded a whole another intro for this video and it took me like 15 minutes to explain myself, so this is attempt number 2. Let's see how laconic and eloquent I can be in this one.
Long story short, I've been kind of avoiding the story of Kilian for quite some time, for a fair amount of like 2 years. The House of Kilian, which is kind of like a European brother, like a sibling of Tom Ford, by the marketing and the way that they are positioning themselves and the way they're priced. And this, like, it's a hyper luxury. They do heavily rely on like sex kind of theme, a lot of heavy musky gourmands and things like that. However, it's a little bit more known in the kind of Eurasia side of the world rather than in the States, though I think it's fairly global at this point. Like, a lot of people that I know in the United States are now fairly familiar with the Kilian line, and my interest was rekindled in them when they came up with their more kind of mainstream line, the one that you can buy in Sephora and many other stores. As far, maybe it's Sephora exclusive actually, I'm not sure. So that was their first official aggressive attempt to kind of win over teen market. I do find that their marketing of this line was kind of heavy-handed. It was kind of like, what do youngsters like this time of year? Let's put a bike there. Oh, let's put like a skinny chick in with a tattoo on the bike. Oh, let's like make them chase, I don't know, like speed some like LA highways at night. Let's make them stop at the Hollywood sign and start making out. It's just, to me, it's kind of like off-putting, like how antiquated that idea of young rebels is. But maybe, I don't know, maybe some marketing geniuses worked on it and I just don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know. It didn't really vibe with what modern teens are, at least to me, and it seemed a little heavy-handed. That's what I imagine, like a 50-year-old executives would come up in the conference room for like a marketing for teens. Maybe it's just me. If any of you are of that delicate age, please let me know if you vibe with the marketing of this Kilian line. Anyway, again, very much unapologetically marketing of sex. And this particular fragrance that we're gonna start with is Let's Settle This Argument Like Adults in the Bedroom, Naked. The short name is just Adults. This one was actually my first purchase of Kilian. Like, the scent itself, Adults, was fun enough that it gave me a little bit of this kind of girly giggle. What it really does well is it combines this coconutty vanilla milk note in the heart and the base with a rather cheerful opening of kind of green notes, like a green fig note, fig leaf maybe, no, something like that. So the green refreshing opening lasts probably less than 10 minutes, and what you get in the heart and the dry down of it is almost like a mono accord of vanilla milk. It's very girly, it's very frilly, not uncomplicated and charming at the same time. And every once in a while, when I'm in that kind of juvenile, flippant, reckless mood, I do enjoy wearing it, and it's fairly well made. The only thing that I have questions towards is this plastic lid, which serves as a base for the fragrance. I got mine with 20% discount during a Sephora Friends and Family sale. I do find that they're fairly overpriced for what they are. They're really simple. In some ways, they are like Demeter, kind of a Demeter type of fragrances. Like, if you want to buy a coconutty vanilla milk, you can get Pina Colada from Demeter, and you might probably get like almost the same quality of a blend. But given that this is Kilian, even though this is like a not mass market, but like designer level luxury release, not hyper luxury, not niche, the price sticker I think on this one is around $80 to $100. A bit much to what it is, but they are fun. They can be very fun, and I think they are doing fairly well considering the sales kind of like worldwide. What they started doing with that line recently, they started to release kind of like uplifted, simpler, cheerful dupes of their own high-end fragrances. So if you're like some of the high-end Kilian fragrances, more and more you find their kind of lighter, flirtier versions in their mainstream line as well. I think they had one of those like fruity, musky, lychee scents that they released recently, and that really reminds me of a number of their higher end scents that they had in the past. So it took me many months to acquire 7 fragrances to review for you, and I finally, as soon as I realized I have like a decent number, I thought, all right, I should pull the trigger. I should give it a week to wear each of them several times on the blotter, on the skin, on the clothing, and actually come up with some final conclusions to make my mind up about, am I buying like bigger decants or bottles, or am I just letting it rest for a conceivable future. Thanks to a friend of mine, I got myself a paired fragrance sampler, which has Woman in Gold and Gold Night by Kilian for her and for him. We're gonna start with a Gold Night because this is clearly targeted toward men, though I find that most of their fragrances, they are very, I wouldn't say that all of them are unisex, but all of them can be worn by women for sure. When it comes to men, it depends what kind of like what kind of men you are, because I know some men are very shy about wearing something gourmand or sweet. Okay, Gold Night by Kilian. Let's see what they're saying. Elegant, daring, seductive. Inspired by the dashing golden armored Chevalier of Klimt's 1902 Beethoven breeze, Gold Night contrasts with addictive dark sensuousness of patchouli, with effervescent brightness of bergamot, warm golden shimmer of vanilla and honey. You know, a lot of perfumers play with the idea of color and scent, and we can find gold being kind of like used and abused in so many olfactory compositions. But I think most of the time gold is visually, it's both warm and cold kind of color because it's metal and it's very sharp, right? Like the metallic surface gives high contrasting and therefore somewhat sharp impression, but yet the color of it is yellow, therefore it has some of that warmth. So building that kind of contrast of something having very sharp edge or having very like solid spine to a fragrance, yet of that having some of that lavish, soft, warm kind of feel can be reconstructed by many different accords. So what they tried to do here is to combine woody notes with honey. They talk about a lot of different things: patchouli, bergamot, this, that, vanilla. What I really smell the most is very potent juxtaposition of more kind of concentrated seriousness of woody notes that is constantly being washed off and rounded and kind of swirled around by sweet honey scent. There's a little bit of like a refreshing there. Maybe it's bergamot, maybe it's anise, I'm not sure. There's some kind of freshness, at least at the opening of the fragrance. Gold Night I find to be the most elegant of all of the fragrances we're going to discuss today, and it's probably my second favorite. It definitely has honey, but I would say honey really is carefully balanced. It's not a gourmandise papalooza. It's not like an explosion of sweets. No. It's very elegantly wrapped with woody notes in here. If if you're a guy and you're kind of tired of the cliche ocean breeze, austere, severe, sharp spices, or what else do we have there? Citrusy colognes. There's not like that much variety, unfortunately, in the mainstream men's fragrances. They're much denser packed together in the olfactory multidimensional space of accords and notes than what's being marketed toward women. So if you're tired of the cliches, Golden Night really offers a very tasteful departure from the colognes, from the woody spices and anything austere and kind of harsh. This perfume intrigues me because I keep trying to figure out what's dominant here, the sweet honey or like the more focused, more, I dare say, masculine, kind of like woody composition that is very elegant and almost dry. And I can tell. I am very intrigued by how this perfume will pull on different skins, because I find that the individual skin chemistry will very likely make it sound different on different people. On some people, I think the honey and the sweeter kind of like sensual note will probably win over and the wood only will play a supporting role. But on some others, it might actually become way more drier and woodier. I'm sorry, I don't know what kind of synonym I'm looking for here, with the honey note only playing kind of like an echo to it. If you ever tried Golden Night, please let me know what kind of aspect of that fragrance jumped at you first. What was like the dominant note in it for you? Because to me, it's a toss. I can't really pull it neither toward more woodier and spicier, nor toward sweet and gourmand. It's right there in the middle. I feel like the skin will be the deciding factor. I like it. I'm intrigued by it. Now let's make a logical transition to Woman in Gold, which is like a paired fragrance for her. Oh, goodness. All right. As I told you, this is kind of, I'm just refreshing my memory. I already worn them substantially on my skin, on my clothes. I tried them on the blotter. I'm sorry. The female, like the women counterpart of this pair is not really pulling its weight. Not in my book. To me, this is obnoxiously sugary, lemony, kind of lemon hard candy all the way through. At the beginning, in the heart, and to the end. It just stays there. It's not very cheaply blended. I've smelled much worse candy-like, lemon candy-like perfumes in my life. It's not the worst, but it's just so in your face. It's just so sugary, a little bit obnoxious, and it doesn't really has much of the movement, much of the opening. And I must say, this is like ethyl maltol or whatever they put in there. This is like syrup overdose. I can't imagine in a nightmare of wearing this on myself for any prolonged period of time. I think this can really smother you if you're not used to kind of beast-like, super syrupy perfumes. Not my cup of tea. I think I maybe could deal with it if it was not as sugar candy, like not so like supercharged with like this kind of like lemon drops candy. It's just maybe just not my favorite flavor in a way. Maybe it was like a different type of sweetness I could. But yeah, Woman in Gold to me is just lemon hard candy all the way through. Very loud, very sweet, very long lasting, I must say. But it just doesn't have the same kind of sophistication as Golden Night does, at least in my book. The next contender is Back to Black. Let's get a fresh spray. Woo! This is another like sugar overload perfume. Okay, this wins wins the first place in the heaviest, most gourmand, most sugar heavy syrup, jam, cherry liquor. It's all there. Gingerbread cookies, honey. It's like such an overdose of dark, heavy honey as well. This is something that is just, it's a tribute to sweet, like sweet tooth kind of people. No way in hell. You know me at this point, it's just like, oh my god. This is liquid death. This is like obesity in a bottle. Though I must give its due, it's well blended. It doesn't smell cheap. It's just so sweet. It's like overdose of all sugary, syrupy, licorice kind of gourmandise notes with a very heavy dose of dark honey. If you're into that kind of thing, that's probably the paragon of honey-like sweetness. And I think if like one spray in the whole room now just stinks of it. If nothing holds on you longer than an hour, which I dare say is probably not true, it's just you don't feel the fragrance on yourself. But if you're looking for something that will be a killer, like a sweet death to everyone around you, Back to Black will be it. Definitely. It's like all sweet notes gathered together. Yet I must say the blend is kind of deep. It has dimension. It's just, ooh, it's just a bit much. I feel like I just ate like a kilo of different desserts. The next one, Sacred Wood. As far as I hear, rare and possibly discontinued. Why am I spraying everything but the blotter? Okay, here we go. I actually first tried it on my shoulder here before I went to bed. I smelled it all evening, all through the night. I think even a couple of times I woke up, I was like, goodness, what smells like this? It's pretty like potent. And all morning. It's just like most Kilian fragrances are very long lasting, which I think probably will make a lot of people happy who are willing to spend that kind of money on the perfume. So, Sacred Wood. I thought I already had a fragrance with very similar premise, and that was Serge Lutens' Santal Majuscule, but that is a sandalwood with more like sweet jam-like rose. It's not quite the same, because here we have sandalwood with milk. So the only kind of rounding factor, like something that gives it warmer heart, some like, I can't even call it sweetness because it's only like a hint of sweetness that is given by lactonic notes. It's almost not even milk. It's not vanilla mousse. It's not half and half. It's just milk froth. It's only a hint of that kind of like oily, milky sweetness. Just a hint. Mostly it is an exemplary replica of very realistic sandalwood. It's in the top 3 by Kilian of everything that I tried. Very elegant perfume. Some people compare it with Santal Blush by Tom Ford. I find that this one is has a little bit more sophistication. To what I remember about Santal Blush by Tom Ford, that one is a little bit more nude, a little bit more skin-like. That one is a little bit more romantic or flirty, if you wish, which kind of chips away at its sophistication. The Sacred Wood by Kilian is if you have it, congratulations. If you can put your hands on it and you adore sandalwood and you're looking for something that will be just the best sandalwood on the market, Sacred Wood by Kilian should be in your top 10 if you can find it. Maybe a decant, I don't know. Really great stuff. I'm very happy that a friendly blogger sent me I think this is almost like 3 milliliters, so I'll be wearing this myself. See, that's what why I avoided Kilian for so long. Like, you spray 2 of them and basically you can't really smell anything else. It's not that easy to actually review them back to back. All right. The next one, thank God I have my notes, because at this point I'm not sure I can distinguish anything from anything. Voulez-vous coucher avec moi? The most vulgar cliche way to sell a fragrance, but here we are. That's Kilian. All right. This is everything that I dislike about white florals. This is basically take all the aspects that I don't like and put them in one fragrance, call them the most snooze-worthy, sex-oriented name, and sell for $300. Here you get Voulez-vous coucher avec moi. It has ylang-ylang, it has tuberose, it's syrupy, it's loud, I dare say it's annoying. And for me, unfortunately, I can't really do it for so long because the tuberose here is consistently giving me a headache. I'm, for whatever reason, hypersensitive to tuberose. Accord, I'm yet to figure out what specific components are responsible for it, because 1 in 100 tuberose fragrances I'm fine with. But 99% of them just without a fail give me one of the most annoying, horrible heavy headaches. So can't really give it justice, because for me it's tuberose-centric fragrance as the smell of headache and nothing more. My receptors just get completely blocked with that. But just generally speaking, if you like very potent, almost poisonous kind of ylang-ylang with tuberose, maybe worth considering Voulez-vous coucher avec moi. Again, what really goes for it is the loudness, the beast mode, the projection is just incredible. For better or for worse, the staying power is really there. So it really just all comes down to whether you can tolerate it and people around you can tolerate it. But you're guaranteed a very noticeable impact before you enter the room. Next is Intoxicated. This one I remember trying in, what was that? I think it was Moscow duty free, which, by the way, if we ever to travel again, you guys, the perfume lovers, should know that if you can arrange a transfer, a layover, or actually fly to Moscow duty free, they have probably only to be on only to be compared with Dubai, which I haven't seen, but I heard fairy tales about Dubai duty free. Moscow airports have the most luxurious, lavish, diverse, out of this world, amazing selection of hyperluxe and niche fragrances. Unparalleled. No American international airport can even stand close to what they have in Sheremetyevo. So keep it in mind next time when we're all finally free to travel. So I tried it there, and a lot of people told me that I was the most realistic coffee smell, because I'm still on the hunt of the most realistic kind of just freshly ground coffee beans. And I must say, this is not coffee, but this is one of the best spicy cardamoms that I've ever smelled. I love it for it. It's very common for people to kind of mix the coffee with cardamom together because the cardamom is a spice that's frequently added to black coffee. But this is cardamom. This is not coffee. Spicy, rich, sweeter than most cardamom fragrances. Delicious. Delicious. And this is why I have like a whole travel. If I could, I would buy a whole bottle. Oh, this is so good. And as always with Kilian's, at least with their main line, very potent, great projection, strong staying power. I only need one spray, just one. Just spray, dab, I'm done for the day. Love it. I love spicy cardamom fragrances, so this is like straight up my alley, and this is my number one. And the last one in today's review will be Liaisons Dangereuses. I saved it for the last because I find that that's what most people think of Kilian when they hear the name. One of the most kind of representative fragrances of their line. These are basically like fruity musks. Lavish, sensual, strong, sort of skin-like, but they manage to stay on your skin forever. This one doesn't have as much of a projection as some others. For example, Back to Black, Woman in Gold has a lot of projection. This is probably a more nuanced, a little bit more skin-like fragrance, but it still is like 10x volume compared to a lot of fruity musks that are out there. To me, it's a little bit generic. There are a lot of fruity musks that are worth your attention, and price-wise, it's a little much. But undoubtedly, this is probably a classic by Kilian at this point. It's classic by the name, which is again like utilizing sexually charged cliches. It is classic by the way they blend fragrances, this combination of sensuality, deep animalic notes, musky in the way that is sweet and almost a little bit sour, and that kind of like immediately is being supported by the enveloping sweetness of peaches, apricots. All of them are kind of a little bit like dried fruits and almost jam-like. And again, going a little bit to this kind of tartness or sourness, just a tad, to give it a little bit of teeth, giving a little bit of zest. Not my favorite, but for purely subjective reasons, because when it comes to fruity musks, my personal favorite of how to do them is Micallef. I have Studium P number 2, and actually Micallef is like they're the king of peachy musks. A lot of their fragrances have those two components pretty central to their hearts. Royal Musca, Pure Extreme, like you name it, a lot of their fragrances do share some of that kind of like peachy, fruity, musky DNA in them. And personally, I prefer that way of blending peachy, fruity notes with musks. However, Liaisons Dangereuses is classic by Kilian. I think if you just don't know what to start with, but you already kind of like you buy into what they sell, I think this one is just like a golden standard of what they do and how they do it. So it's worth trying just to get kind of like an impression if you vibe with their branding. Great stuff, I must say. I have 2 travel sizes. I really don't need both, so I'll probably will be selling one. I might wear this from time to time, but it kind of falls somewhere in the middle for me. And that is a wrap when it comes to Kilian and me. It was a really interesting journey. It was a long time coming. I know you don't care, but for me it's almost like I started and closed the whole chapter trying to place my mind and my tastes and kind of like form an opinion about Kilian as a brand. As you can see, there's a spectrum. There are certain things that I appreciate and like. I can't say that this is my, like, that I really kind of like feel like my heart belongs to this perfume house, but I certainly have a lot of respect for the way that they blend and package their perfumes. Do I vibe with the price? Definitely not. You know me, I don't believe in $300 bottles, to be honest. Just the scientist in me, the product strategist in me, the person who kind of knows how the pricing works. No. But samples, travel size, decants, there are a lot of options currently available on the market. If you want one of, like, I probably will be just selling them as a group, as samples on my either Mercari page or on my Facebook page. So come join me, see if you want to get something. Otherwise, I think I'll be just moving on. As I told you, my top 3 from Kilian so far is Intoxicated. Love the spicy cardamom, and I with one spray I can deal with how loud and how much projection their fragrances have, because I actually am not a big fan of very loud fragrances. The number 2 would be probably Sacred Wood. Oh, pardon. Number 2 is Gold Night, and number 3 will be Sacred Wood. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you tried any of Kilian fragrances. What do you think about their marketing, about their packaging, all of the aspects of it? Do you have any favorites? Like, just let me know what you think of them in the modern market of perfumes. Do you think they're worth the price? Do you compare them with Tom Ford's? I kind of find that there should be some rivalry there, because they're running dangerously close in many aspects of their brand identity. So I'm kind of curious to see what you think of them. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and share the video if you enjoyed it. Maybe some of your friends who also love perfumes will enjoy them too. Thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you in the next video.